Girl, open up your legs them. Me know no other man never been in them. The picnic them. Girl, me want fi fuck you like a porn star. Buckle up, backseat in my car. Bumpy ride, up down, me no one come. The thing set, we are sounding up the alarm. Girl, me feel looking at your eyes. Pum pum tight and it feels so right. Squeezing up the khaki so me never think twice. Explode like a volcano in a paradise, that's why. Your virgin thing, I make everything nice. Take everything, me make you my wife. Tell your daddy if he name any price, cause you fuck me right and you pum pum tight. Your virgin thing, I make everything nice. Take everything, me make you my wife. Tell your daddy if he name any price, cause you fuck me right and you pum pum tight. Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yeah, but what it do, what it is.
What it is, what it does, General.
Me ghetto youth in the building. We got the center, Rastafari. Fire in the booth. Right now, I just need a young explosion. You know? And then the man. Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, Mr. Moy. We have a lot to talk about.
No, we don't. To be honest, you know, it's fine. It's fine. We'll get to it. Just go to housekeeping.
Yeah.
I'm tired already. You know when the 6 foot weights account replied and said, we're actually not friends in real life. This is just for club.
People thought we were joking, but it was the truth.
It was the truth.
Yeah, no. But I mean, ngihlale phansi labazali bakuthi, "Hey, high school fees lana ngiyaxolisa sibili because yo mfana poso wabhayiza mfana. You know.
Can we go to the housekeeping?
Okay, Wiki D, relax. Yeah. Guys, welcome to 6 Foot Weights. This is your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo, and the relax. And the ghetto youth over there. What's your name, ghetto youth?
And I am Senna.
Okay. Rasta Senna in the building. So yeah, literally housekeeping is going to be all of 2 seconds. Follow the YouTube channel, donate to the Twitch GoFundMe. Danko. Sen, what
IP Thursday is back this week. I had to take a break last week because I wasn't feeling too grand on Thursday, plus I had a shitload of work. So yeah, I just decided to let it go. Yeah, I didn't have enough time as well. So yeah, we're back this week.
Senna and ANC in terms of service delivery, same WhatsApp group.
But we make sure the podcast is there every week, so I make up for one with the app.
Siyazama bakithi.
Siyazama.
So that's it for housekeeping.
I think that's it for housekeeping, Mr. Maps.
Right. I wish I had a Jamaican accent. So we can talk about this thing, you know, dissect the thing. Man.
I need to explain myself.
By the way, this intro, I'm definitely gonna find the most like dancehall, reggaeton, you know, background music. It's gonna be really if there's any, weed smoker listeners, spark your blunt, stop the podcast, go ding at your blunt, and, if Roy is listening, go and that Tucci, when Tucci used to jump onto the tracks, you'd hear the lights go chak, and then just before Weezy jump onto that track, anyway, I don't know where I was really going with that. Just got a bit too excited, so I apologize about that.
Anyway, you're having fun today.
No, I really am having fun. I'm having a lot of fun right now. Mr. Moy, I think we've touched on this one or two occasions, but I really, as your media best friend, I need to understand, because to this day, if anyone asks me, I still can't give them an answer. What happened? What were you going through? What were you going through in your life? What were you not getting from, your family, your loved ones, your education? Like, what was missing for you to turn to this?
This is the part of the podcast where the listeners then have their OMG moment.
What was happening, Mr.
Side note, the only reason I even okayed you taking that recording is just because it's your birthday next week.
Shout out.
And we are just, whatever. Konoko. Present to you, happy birthday.
See, I won't answer it.
Uzothiwa ngifuna present Hennessy kwathi ngisengiqedile.
Henny for the boy.
Hayi sak. No man. Yo. So this week I was going through some old emails. So I have an external hard drive, right, which has a whole lot of the stuff. It has movies, series, notes, slides, everything. My university life is basically in an external hard drive somewhere in my room, right?
Yeah.
So the external is locked up somewhere in my wardrobe. I generally just don't touch it because it's years ago, right? I'm like, not that person anymore. Like, done with that. I don't need those notes anymore. Nowadays we stream movies. Gone are the days when you download and put them into folders and you have season 1 to 10 of Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
So this week I was just looking for something in my old emails that a friend of mine, shout out to Riddim Don, aka Lavoro Duro, Calvin was my friend from university, or is my friend from university. He works in one of the top law firms in Santon. So I was just looking for notes that he sent me in 2018 during articles, right? Now I hit search on my Gmail, and every single email he's ever sent me pops up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it pops up with a whole bunch of recordings which he had sent me in around 2013 and 2014, right? So for context, that's my first year and second year of university. I was about 19, 20 at the time, thereabout. That was my age. So for those who are now figuring it out, I had a very short couple of months career as a reggae and dancehall artist. So long before I became the people's favorite lawyer, one half of 6 Foot Weights, polished my image a little bit. As a boy, came from Bulawayo, studying law, and took a liking towards reggae and dancehall music, and I was like, hey, I wanna like start recording tunes as well. So I met Calvin in first year. I like reggae music, but not like a lot, right? So I met Calvin in first year in class, but at the time I didn't know that he was like also into rhythms and stuff, right? So I only like Bob Marley, Buju Banton, the mainstream guys, Sean Paul, the one that everyone knows, right? Like Cartel, Mavado, but I didn't like ever go deep into it. And then these Kenyan guys invited me to play FIFA at their place, and we get there, they're like smoking weed and they're playing rhythms, right? And then I heard
so cliche.
right? We're playing FIFA and they were playing like everywhere I went it was just hip hop and house at the time, right? So these guys are like, hey yo, you wanna play FIFA? I'm like, yeah, let's play FIFA. Like, you want weed? I'm like, nah, Jack, don't do drugs. You know, obviously I'm still new, I'm coming from blues. This is like first semester, first year. Coming from blues, I'm like, I will not touch alcohol, I will not touch drugs, please leave me alone. Right. And then he played the song. It's by Richie Spice. It's called Got to Make It. I'll send you a thing that you can just paste on here. But it's Richie Spice, Got to Make It is from the Message Rhythm. And it was such a catchy like vibration which just got me, right? Like I just felt the song. I'm like, hey yo dude, this is a really good song. Who's this artist? He's like, no, it's Richie Spice, Got to Make It. I'm like, oh, that's really dope. But then the song doesn't end. Instead, it rolls on to the next song on the same rhythm. Yeah. And the next song was Vibes Cartel, Poor People Land. That was an even better tune, but it was with the same instrumental. And I'm like, yo, my G, what is this? He's like, my nigga, these are rhythms. I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta send me like the whole thing. Send the whole thing. So he gives me a flash with all his rhythms, and then I just bring them onto my PC, and then that's how I actually like got deep into reggae music and rhythms. Fast forward to a couple of months later, I meet Calvin again in class playing these rhythms, and he's like, yo, my youth, you're also into these tunes? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you know, like I have a young mini studio thing in my room. You know, you should pull through. I record, I mix beats, I do all these things. Come through, let's make music.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, let's go, let's do it. So initially I started off just fooling around, right? We'd just come in, we'd just see what works. He'd produce a beat, and then we'd work off like instrumentals that were already there, like from existing rhythms. And we're just playing around. Like, it wasn't even that deep. I think the first song we did was called Feedy Poor. It was something about poor people and justice and whatever. Right? And then the more I listened to the stuff, Calvin also had like a connect who would give him marijuana. That's where the problem started. So Calvin had a guy who'd give him marijuana, and obviously now I'm listening to all this music that's talking about the herb and ganja, and like there's a song by Chronix called Perfect Tree, which literally speaks of weed being the most amazing thing you'll ever try. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. And I did. And I think that was the day we recorded the song that just played as the intro. Mind you, yo guys, we were really like on another level. But we made a couple other good songs. Like Calvin is now like, he just won a summer award for like producing the best reggae song, best reggae album in South Africa. So shout out to him. But back then it was just like fooling around, right? It was like, let's just make songs for fun. And he like took it to a whole new level. So he's like got a career out of this now.
And he's a lawyer.
And he's a lawyer. But back then it was just, you know, after class we'd take a walk and then let's just go record. And we would make music. Back then I was 19, 20? Yeah, so that was it, Mr. Maps. That explains the song.
So have you prayed to God for forgiveness?
What do you mean for forgiveness?
Yeah.
Background, those lyrics took me about, to write the whole song from start to finish, it took about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But can I explain?
Yeah, whilst you explain it, also explain to ubucabango ubani. That's what I need to know.
The song was actually not called Pum Pum Tight. It was called Mrs. Right.
So who is Mrs. Right? Or who was Mrs. Right?
At the time, Mrs. Right was my then girlfriend.
I don't know who this is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But so the song started off with Mrs. Right, and it was, girl, you're Mrs. Right, you're everything, I make everything nice, take everything, me make you my wife. So it was, girl, you're Mrs. Right, and it was cute, it was bubbly, it was nice. And then I think after a few plans, Calvin's like, my youth, we need to make a dirty song. You know what, what?
I said dirty things.
And me, at the time, I'm also young, I'm very excitable. I'm like, run the riddim, Miss Selector. So he runs the riddim.
Oh, man, fuck's sake.
I'm like, run the riddim, Selector. And then he plays it, then he's like, right, so we're gonna just make changes to where it's like cute and fuzzy, and we're just gonna make it dirty. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, where you say, Mrs. Right, everything that's Mrs. Right replaced with Pum Pum Tight. I'm like, oh, okay. I think you guys understand what, to be honest, what Pum Pum refers to. I will not, to be honest, I'm not that misogynistic anymore. Shame. It was just that night, Kupela. In general, I wasn't.
Wait,
it was just
saying Pum Pum is misogynistic?
It is rude.
Yeah, it's rude, but is it misogynistic?
Well, it's like you're basically referring to a woman.
No.
By merely her sexual object.
Bruh, now you're reaching.
Or her sexual part.
Now you're getting woke Twitter things, bruh. Now you're getting woke Twitter. What do you mean, bro?
I don't know, but that's why I cringe when I listen to it now. So now when I listen to it, I'm like,
Listen, okay, we'll get back to that. But
okay,
are you literally just talking about just saying the word pum pum?
Well, maybe that's saying Pum Pum Tight, like just reducing the descriptor of
come on,
a person to Pum Pum Tight.
Let's be serious about life.
And to be honest, the whole
come on, like this is really like, at the end of the day, Pum Pum is derived from what? From Punani, and Punani is Yaman, is lokuzit. Is pussy, is vagina, is whatever, right? So vagina, pussy, pum pum, or rather punani, pum pum, So it's like, at the end of the day, it's different words for the same organ. You're not, by saying that word, you're not reducing a woman to, you're literally naming a sexual organ. At least that's what I'm hearing.
So. I guess so.
If you flip it and then you turn it from pum pum to like dick, right, or penis or whatever,
yeah,
are we then going to have the same argument to know you're reducing a man to just his sexual organ? Like, hey, bruh, if you wanted to rap about a dick, then you rap about a dick.
And I guess it was the time. So it was the time I made a transition from. It was literally from listening to hip hop, straight out of the Carter 4, and to Vibes Cartel the following year. So in high school, it was Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, he was like the biggest thing when we were in high school.
Absolutely.
And then you get to varsity, and then I'm exposed to Cartel and Mavado, and they're like they're more explicit. Like, Jamaicans, I think, are more explicit than Americans when they're rapping about sex.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. I think if you listen to
that, I won't argue that. It's just that I don't understand the lingo. So like a lot probably flies over my head, where I'll pick up probably 30 to 40% of what the guy is actually saying, which is probably why I don't really fuck with, rhythms that much, because I was I
think I've listened to enough of it to now just be able to pick up what it was about. But anyways, back to the song. So it was meant to be cute, like serenade. So there is still a clean version out there somewhere. Calvin just won't send it to me, dickhead. But there's a clean version that he has, I think, on his PC. But he says I can't get it because the Varsity PC doesn't use it anymore. It's probably dead. He needs to go recover it. So it was cute. It was everything makes everything nice. Take everything, I'll make you my wife.
So you're essentially trying to dump the vulgar part of this on Calvin. We'll bring Calvin Bella to the podcast.
Yes, I am actually trying to dump it all on it.
Look at this lack of accountability here.
But Shem, to be honest, I'm the one who came up with the lyrics, like all the lyrics. He just suggested, like, my youth, like, you can actually like just turn this into like a dirty thing and it's make it fun. And at the time we were like lit. Long story short, we finished recording the tunes. This one is the one that just never made it out. There's some that made it to like SoundCloud and
so do you have a mixtape?
Nation. Yeah, I did. It was called
wow.
Dude, I was within, bro. It was called Message to the Youths.
Wow. So you're busy sending messages to the youths instead of sending messages to your books.
I was passing, so I didn't have to worry about my books. Like, I was doing okay.
Had you failed? Hey, as Zulu Mrs. Moyo, sure would.
The good thing is, I breezed. I kind of breezed through law school a little bit, except a couple of courses. But I passed everything. Like, I never failed a course. But that was just something we did for fun. The same way people would go clubbing. I think first year, second year, I never ever hit groove. Free time was either recording with Calvin, going to the gym with Wesley, and chilling in my room, listening to more riddims, watching movies, whatever. I didn't. You know what they say about going out in Joburg? So I was skeptical in the initial years.
You know? Okay. Right.
So it was called Message to the Youth. So the other songs are like a bit more righteous and politically inclined. No, dude, I was within. Like when I talk about a phase, there was a good 6 to 8 month phase where I was on the borderline of becoming a Rastafari.
So really, it was just clappage on your mixtape.
It wasn't clappage. Like, I think this was the only clappage song. The other songs were pretty decent.
Nah, this one low key. Low key, me, I can bump it. It's just the beginning there. I was like, yo, spread them legs there. I was like, whoa, take me out on a date, man. Damn. Rude ass nigga.
And also, it coincided. So it coincided with a lot of things, right? That kind of, I think, happened simultaneously in my life. It coincided with first time trying marijuana ever, and was like, it's not like I smoked weed all the time. I just like tried it, like spirit, like let me see what it's like. I was very underwhelmed, to be honest. And then it coincided with freedom, and I know we'll touch on like being at home and strict parents and all those things later. But it coincided with freedom just to do whatever you want, and then whatever I want.
Yeah, man.
And whatever I wanted led me to reggae and rhythms. And then 3, it coincided with being sexually active for the first time there in first year. So now it's like exciting times. It's all these things happening. And then I decided to put it into a song.
You see what happens when you kids out there have sex before marriage. This is what happens. This is a cautionary tale that your brothers from 6 foot weights are letting you know. You know, let's not do this thing, man.
Yeah.
Nah, I see Abonga, Mr. Moyo. This was fun. This was definitely funny as fuck. But no, definitely good on you for getting a couple tracks out there. Hopefully this doesn't get you cancelled, but you know.
Dog, this might actually get me cancelled.
It wouldn't.
Read those lyrics.
It wouldn't get
Anyways,
you cancelled.
I'm easy. And I will not drop the full song. Full song is not dropping.
Unless we get 50 retweets, right? 100,000. Actually, let's do mine.
Nah.
Sfuna personally, sfuna $10,000. Then
I'm not dropping the track.
For 10 grand?
10,000 USD.
USD.
Okay, for 10k USD, I'll drop it. For 10k USD, I'll drop it.
I know we've got some, working class ladies out here who are in love with Mr. Moyo. Come through.
No, not after that.
Smolayana, 10k USD, or deposit the money, or rather we'll post the PayPal, in the DM. Come through. Now seriously, I know there's a sugar mama out there, just one.
But I'm actually so glad. I'm so glad I went through it as a phase rather than something I decided to do for the rest of my life.
we wouldn't be as close. I can promise you that much.
Lying, you were still my friend at the time, Tabo.
Yeah, but no, I'm piggy. But I'm just saying that every other day after I left you, I'd pray for you. And pray for the good brother's spirit, like Nkulunkulu, please, Jesus, like yo, please help the homie, bro. But nah, definitely. I mean, I think we all need, an experience like this at some point in our lifetimes, where you want to. I think the lesson that we can take from this is, guys, follow your passions. Follow, to a certain extent, try something. Don't ever, be that person where you love something, you love doing something, and you just never tried it, you never did it, Zama. It might not pop,
wonder how my music career might have gone because I've tried it.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's out of your system. You're like, all right, cool, I did it. And then maybe if you want to, you can still make tunes here and there.
That's not happening.
I mean, but it's still open, right? If you feel like you want to do that, you can still be like, all right, cool, I wrote these lyrics. Let me see what it sounds like. See how you've grown over the last couple of years. So, the lesson today, ladies and jelly beans, is, work on your passions. Try something. Be brave. Be bold. And, your friends will not laugh at you too much. Right. On to the next topic. Which
Welcome to 6 Foot Weights. This is the official start of the podcast.
So funny. So it's essentially, we kind of sort of, I think saying getting cancelled would be dramatic, right? But what happened is one of our faithful listeners of this podcast, at Wenkosi on Twitter, innocently, thought about us when she was having a conversation with her friends, friend, singular, and she referenced something that we said on a previous episode where we were, when we were joking, and I repeat, jokingly, mentioning what kind of, clothes or whatever. What are we talking about? Like turn-offs or things that people shouldn't wear?
We spoke about. There was a tweet that we're referencing where I think people were like, what's the one thing in the opposite gender that you absolutely don't like?
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
And then we brought the tweet and we're like, actually, Mr. Maps, let's talk about, things that women wear that we look at and we're like, but guys.
Exactly.
I think the joke I made was, does it inspire
a relationship?
Or engagement or something like that?
No. If you said, then definitely that would have been a problem. You said a relationship. So don't be out here.
Oh, so you're gonna have to mute that. You're definitely gonna have to mute that.
Yeah, definitely gonna mute that. Editor, please.
Yeah, inspire a relationship, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what you said, and obviously we're having a laugh. And for people that actually listened to the episode, everybody got that we were having a laugh because we're talking about both guys and girls. So it was chilled, it was fun, right? Good vibes. Even when she brought up the conversation again about the heels, I took it in jest personally, right? Okay, like she's actually just joking, right? So it wasn't a deep thing. But then also she has a bit of a following, and a feminist following at that. So then obviously people who were not listeners of the podcast kind of took it seriously. And then that's when shit started to be like, okay, this is what we're doing. All right, cool. I mean, for the most part, again, people were just kind of speaking their opinions. It wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
But then there were just one or two tweets, and I'm like, whew. Well, damn. Tell me how you really feel. And I was just kind of, again, this. So what we're going to talk about is woke Twitter, think peace Twitter. Just
Tabo wants to talk about.
Yeah, no, because it really fascinates me, right? It really does fascinate me. And what made me laugh personally was just kind of like, okay, this basically what this listener provided was an opportunity for people to sort of jump off on that. You know what I mean? So like, I remember there's this one person who even was like, we're gonna let men with unwashed asses tell us what to do. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, yo.
I'm like, why are we being dragged into this?
I was like, hey, my git.
Yeah.
From nowhere, bro. I was like, that. So one of my boys DMs me that is like, yo, she went for the head, boy. I was like, oh my God. Like, so I laughed. So I got to see some of that venom, some of that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, yo, at least, and again, it also spoke to a lot of the things that we do on Twitter, where people will always post like a snippet, or people will post a quote, where if you read the quote, maybe it's some white guy saying, hey, the problem with black people, and then that's it. And then people are like, hey. So if anybody said black people are a problem, or there's a problem with black people, but then when you read the whole quote, it's like, oh, okay, cool. This changes the whole thing completely. You know what I mean? So, or maybe the guy was joking, right? But then we don't know that it was a joke. Next thing, man is trending on Twitter because he's a racist.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
You know what? One of the... I've actually never actually spoken about this, but one of my fears with kind of doing a podcast, and the bigger the kind of the following gets, and from IP Thursday and from all that stuff, is one day you say something that will just be off. Like someone, I can remember someone once tweeted that you don't want to be the star of the day on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be this, like, just make sure it's not you.
Yeah.
There's always someone who's going to just make sure you're not the one. And what then kind of, my fear is one day you just say something which someone doesn't agree with, but then there's like a pileup of bandwagonists.
Yeah.
Because at times, if someone with a popular opinion or likable opinions takes a certain view on something, it can just cause a pileup of other people without thinking, hey, Tabo, what do you actually mean when you said that joke? Then it's just taken out of context, and then next thing you're star of the day. So I never actually speak about that, but that's one thing that, at times you go into before recording or before it airs, or even when you're listening to the podcast once it's aired, you're like, shit.
So, there was there was once a space. Did you hear in Dabale of there was some chick in SA or Chisi passport? Like, she burnt the passport of a friend,
I remember
like a bestie
that.
or some shit.
I
like
remember
that.
Yeah.
So obviously Harare Twitter was on fire. And there were spaces galore, and like, I don't know, 1,000 people on the space or some shit like that. So people just had to discuss this issue, and it was like a 2-day thing, bro. I remember looking at Baby, and she was on this space for time, bro, like hours, bro. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, nigga, you don't even listen to the podcast that long. I was like, it was just a lot going on. And even the next day, saying like it's a weekend, and I'm chilling, and she's still on the space. Like, someone else opened another space, and I was like, so on the second day, I forget what his name was, because he now became famous. He became the star of the day, like you just said. I think his name was Daniel. I can't remember. Or Josh. I don't know.
Oh, the guy. Wait. There was a guy on a space who, I think they were talking about this whole passport thing. I actually jumped on it very briefly,
Yeah.
And there was a guy, he had a really cool accent, and he said something along the lines of, so what he was trying to do, right? He basically said, oh guys, let's stop and, consider what prompted this reaction. Yo.
No, so
Big mistake.
So what the version that I got, right, was
Yeah.
So yeah, I heard there was a ngi who went and chaza the hands, sexy voice, sexy accent. Ooh, who's this guy? So they gassed him a bit. And then man's fucked around and said something like guys, something about guys cheating, not like it's not the guy's fault, or like women make us cheat. Something there, something in that neighborhood about.
Okay, I had probably left the space at that time.
So essentially, it was in a nutshell, it allowed men not to be accountable for cheating. Essentially, that's what happened. And boy, did they come for this nigga. I mean, again, in this case, I guess rightfully so, because I don't know what he said, so I can't speak on that. But all I know is, man's even got chased the fuck off the space. And he went to the space organizer, and he's now like, I don't know if he went to the space organizer, but like there was either him tweeting out and saying, good to know you guys didn't understand what I was saying. Hey, it was late. It was done.
It's a vulnerable place to be in, like public opinion or any form of public discourse. You're already putting yourself on fragile ground.
Yeah.
I know. So you kind of have to navigate it very, very carefully sometimes.
But apparently, so what I was told was, they gave him room. I actually think it was Tando who opened the space. This one I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was.
So
her.
yeah. So like apparently they gave him room to like take it back, walk it back, like what I mean. So in his case, he's not like a victim, in my opinion. At least from what I've heard, it doesn't sound like he's a victim. Kind of sounds like he dug his own grave. Because they're saying, no, homie said some wild shit. And we said, Chief, how about you run that back? Man, double down. You know what I mean? So at that point, it's like,
yay.
If that's the hill that you choose to die on, then you cannot cry and be like, Uns came for me and rebel at me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, at that point, that's on you. But
to be honest, I think a lot of Zim men have problematic opinions on the internet sometimes.
That includes us, isn't it?
sometimes. But there's I actually think it's a certain demographic, unfortunately. I remember the time when Fadzai Mahere, I think she had to defend why, by not being married, she's still a suitable... She's the MDC spokesperson.
Oh, okay.
So I think at some point she had to defend her position on her going into political office. I think it was during election time thereabout. She wanted to run for office, I think, but then she's not married, right? She was, I think, in her early mid-30s at the time, unmarried and not bothered, I think, by it.
Yeah.
But the men in the comments, bro, hey, why aren't you getting married? Hey, it shows we can't trust you if you don't have a husband and have kids. Stuff like that. Like, that's why I can say at times people can be a bit weird with their opinions. But in a similar vein, I'll agree with you, Nguti. There has become an appetite on the internet, and I think I've said this before.
Yeah.
An appetite for bullying or an appetite to drag. It's this constant craving, which you see it with the language that's often used on Twitter. I often say the worst thing to happen to Twitter as an app was the quoted tweet function. That has just allowed people to feed their appetite to bully others using, one, snide comments, backhanded comments, sarcastic comments. Sarcasm isn't bad, but it's good to be sarcastic with people you're familiar with. You're going to be sarcastic with strangers online. Like, imagine if Twitter was actually like a representation of real life, where it's people in a room, and we said all those things.
You would never.
Faces.
Nah,
I
dare you, nigga. You wouldn't.
Never. Ukuthi umntu will post something and say, the kettle is black. what's the way? And then in front of someone's face, or you're walking past them, you're walking past me and Tabo having a conversation, and then we say, the kettle is black, and then when I stop in the middle of a conversation, take that tweet, stand over us, uti, yeah, but you see the problem with saying the pot is black is that you are saying, uti, other pots can't be different colors, or you're not recognizing them, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. But I guess that's I get it, the nature of social media. If you put your discourse out there in public, you're opening it up for critique and discussion, which is fine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think there's a certain element of human nature that's just been lost in all of that.
So there was another thing that I wanted to bring up. Let me see here. So just going on a young tangent, Nyana. So shout out to Neville. Neville is one of the funniest people on Twitter, bro. Like
Neville's hilarious.
Neville, that's my guy, man. Like
Neville's hilarious, though.
Yeah, that one just kills me every single time. So,
like everything he tweets is just funny.
No, absolutely. Like that's a dude and a half. So obviously at the end of each month, if you've noticed, there's now a trend, right? It's the photo dump trend. So end of April, April photo dump, people are posting 4 pictures about, what a random shit that happened in their life that, they want to tell people about, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously, Think Peace Twitter never sleeps. always ready for action all the time. So and again, this is funny because it started from a very, very innocent tweet. So some girl on Twitter tweets out and says, I'm a monthly photo dump and remind me that my life is boring and that I'm broke. Simple, chilled. Hey, it is what it is. It's Twitter, right?
Yeah.
And then another chick then quotes the tweet and says, "This soft life propaganda is wildly dangerous." Soft life propaganda is wildly dangerous, particularly in the historically disadvantaged regions like Africa.
Yeah.
And again, what's funny is, the photo dump thing, I only see them, I think it's like a SADC thing, because I don't really see people from different parts of the world that do the photo dump thing end of the month.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen it. But anyway, whatever. Let's go on. It's a conversation for another day, but it's...
No, I don't get that. Why is it a conversation for another day?
And she doesn't want to start a fight, Mo. She doesn't want to start a fight. Let's let her get her point across. She says that it's a conversation for another day, but its level of unrealistic and unattainable framing feels irresponsible on the part of those sharing. Alas, go off and show off. And, obviously people now jumped into her reply saying, "Hey, Chief, this is attainable," showing, other people's quoted tweets where this one, got 7 rand sent to her. She posted Uti, she was pregnant, and, she was at a restaurant, which is, again, is nothing lokuzen, right? Nothing deep. So then this person who replies saying, "Yo, bro, this shit is literally attainable." Girl, the author of the tweet, responds and says, "Attainable for which demographic? The majority or the handful of people? Question mark. Do you know how much Zappa shoes cost?" I don't know personally.
I think it's Zara.
I don't know. I think Zappa is a brand. Let me zoom in here.
Is it not R-A?
No. Zappa. Z-A-P-A. I guess it's a brand.
What's Z-A-P-A? Okay.
I guess it's a brand. But anyway, Todd, do you know how... what is she saying here? Yeah. Do you know how much privilege is required to be in an apartment block in Cape Town CBD, regardless of whether you're visiting or renting it? Come on. And yeah, like it was a lot.
Yeah.
So Girl sounds pained. I think there's one more tweet. Okay, so then someone else said said something, battling her, and her response was, Watch the disaster that's about to happen in my mentions as if the country was not being looted less than a month ago. It's almost as if people know their moral principles are flawed, but because it's easier to call it self-love and self-care, then it's okay to solely focus on yourself. Yes, queen. So let me see. There's one more. There's one more. One more person who agreed with her. Twakona agreed. She quoted. She said, right, agreed, this one, agreed. And this one is nice. This one kills me. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The soft life fetishization. The soft life fetishization is directly connected to the internalized oppression in Africans. Hallelujah. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
It's a capitalist-driven black excellence project, anti-black, unrealistic, and exclusionary. Hey, win. You know what? I don't even know how things like this exist in real life, bro. Like, imagine that's your hun, bro. And like, you know, maybe you have like 2 plates of pasta and she's out there like... think peas every time. Like,
so what are we going to do? Are we going to walk past a fancy restaurant in Cape Town, see black people chilling there, walk in and say, do you realize that the majority of the population can't afford a meal? So you sitting here in Safruga having sushi and whatever, it can't work.
And then obviously people in the comments say, yo, this English.
You know what, right? I think it's sad because I personally like to see people capturing their best moments from like, life is hard, guys. Life is
exactly
not easy. And if you feel like you want to take pictures and then, you know, at the end of every month post them on Twitter so that people can see that, hey, you made it at the end of it all. Like, there's people who will say, oh no, post a picture when you were going through the most, but then you love the picture. And then, like, I've seen the most beautiful pictures with the saddest stories captioned there. Someone will be like, yes, I took this picture on Chapman's Peak, but it was on this day that Mang passed away in my life. It was on this day that I lost my job. It was on this day that I did this. Like, the photo dump seemed to be like an innocent thing. And that quoted tweet, the initial one, where someone was like, yo, guys, impilo any soft or whatever, that also seemed like a very innocent sort of comment.
Yeah. Reminded me, bro. Like, it didn't seem malicious at all.
Yeah,
you know?
But you see what I said about proportionality. The think pieces aren't proportional to what was being posted, right? People
no, you just provided. You provided. It was the through pass. Essentially, that's what it is.
It's not.
You provided a through pass for someone to go and shoot at the end of the day. So they were looking for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Just getting an angle, and how in there.
But it's not a proper through pass. A proper through pass would be if I invite you and say, Tabo, come, let's have a conversation about wealth disparity in South Africa. Let's have a chat about how the poor are still living in marginalized conditions. Let's have a conversation about that. Now that's a through pass for me and you to engage in that.
Yeah.
Me posting my pictures doesn't entitle you to now come with your think piece, because it's probably saved in your notes. You've just been waiting or agitating, just put it somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go. It's now a thing.
So
like, it can't.
I'm looking at the profile of the chick who posted the last tweets that I mentioned, and she's a freelance writer, a radical black feminist, and I thought that was pretty poignant at the end of the day. And then also, let me see. So she shot off a last tweet that is I could find here. Twakona, I'm seeing a lot of eagerness to defend a project of capitalism in the name of Africa is not all poverty. How do people speak of decolonization and then defend the center of opulence in a country ravaged by gross inequality and poverty? Aye. And
those are all valid points to discuss in the right spaces at the appropriate time with the right people. Because at times it comes across in a very aggressive way to someone who, if they're not having that conversation, it seems a bit silly.
But you know what? Yeah, I think again you're right. That I think sometimes, generally speaking, there's a time and place for everything. But then sometimes, it's one of those things where no, fuck your time and place. This needs to be said right now. But I don't think that was that moment. You know what I mean? Duguti, yeah, no script. Because again, like you said, we go through a lot in life, especially as young people, right? In this generation, we go through a lot. And if someone is like, hey, there were a few days in the month where I did something cool or something cool happened to me, I want to show everybody. That's not, people are not, I feel like these tweets and these quotes kind of make it seem like black people are going out of their way to show Uti Wale mad. You know what I mean?
Which isn't
and
the
then
case.
They want to show it, which isn't the case. This is, to me, this is happiness in one of its purest forms, and says, yo, this is what I did, right? I went out with my friends, or I bought this, or I did this. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Let me be happy for you. I feel like, I don't know what it is. We just don't want to be happy.
Like if someone, if you bought a Wrangler next year, posted the picture on Twitter, hey, I'm so happy, blah, 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 my purchase. I don't think it would be appropriate for someone to quote that tweet and speak about wealth disparities and whatever. But what I actually wanted to ask...
Why didn't you buy a Picanto? Because now you're showing off South Africa. Like, oh, come on, guys.
Well, what I actually wanted to ask you was, so we always jump on this and on this podcast and we say, cheese boy, soft life ambassadors. Obviously, I think we first of all tried to rebrand the label cheese boy, because I think people have tried to use it in an offensive manner, which makes a certain class of kids feel very uncomfortable. So if you can own it, say, okay, fine, cheese boy, yes. And the soft life ambassadors thing, we just threw in it because why not?
Yeah.
Now, do you agree with the whole, the way people brand the soft life as a capitalist project that's not attainable, or people must stop with the whole I'm living soft or soft life, whatever?
Right. I honestly, I'm a guy, and people that know me, they know I'm a guy that likes to take shit at face value. Like I don't want to do all of this mental gymnastics to put this and this together, and like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not paper one English, in Zimsek. That's not what we're doing right now. And and again, on the surface, if there are people who have money and they're spending it and they're showing it, then okay, let them spend it, let them show it. Like, it's not my money, you know what I mean? Like, it's whatever. Yes, there are people who desperately need 500 rand, desperately, right? There are people that are there. But I don't think this is a mutually inclusive thing. If someone is pushing soft life missions, it is directly affecting someone else who is in poverty and in that type of situation. So, and at the end of the day, if you want to shine a light on those people who are living, under the poverty line or whatever it is, lower middle class, whoever you want to shine the spotlight on, you can do that without taking away from villainizing. But you don't have to take that route of bringing down or making it seem like those other people are bad. If people have money, let them spend their money, bro. But shit, and you can do whatever you need to do. Form whatever allies you need to form.
Guys.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, again, if it's corruption money, that's a different story. All right, cool. Drag people who are charging corrupt money, certain party. But if you're an accountant, a lawyer, or whatever, right, and a consultant, and you're making good money, why are you being dragged on Twitter? You know what I mean? Why are you being dragged for taking a trip to Santorini?
Because you're not being considerate of other kids, Pele.
Bruh, free me. Free me, dog. Like, it's really, at the end of the day, for me, a lot of this stuff is not that deep. But anyway, guys, add us, let us know what you think of Think Peace Twitter. If you are a member of Think Peace Twitter, feel free to respectfully come into, either the DMs or add us and let us know, Guti, okay, why do you feel, if you're one of those people where the photo dump thing was happening and you feel like the ladies that we spoke about now did the right thing, come and explain. I'm always open to have these conversations. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm always open to hear from the other side, and understand the logic behind it, because I don't think people are crazy. I think everybody, has a right to their opinions. Let me hear it. I'm more than open to it. So let us know. But yeah, right. We're running out of time, Mr. Moyo. But growing up with strict parents, what were you reminiscing again, since you were in a throwback mood seemingly all week long?
In a way, actually, part of what comes with being at university or going to university or leaving home is this newfound freedom where, so growing up, we all had like a curfew at home, and my mom would be like 6 iket lamliavala wethu khona or awukho mina 6 ngiyavala igate, and like there were specific rules. And I actually came across a post, I think it was from some Instagram page, where someone said, growing up with strict parents is wild. Imagine rehearsing to ask for permission to go somewhere. Like, I was thinking about all that stuff, and I'm like, it's actually quite wild that you actually had to prepare yourself. Like, if I was going to ask my mom to go somewhere over the weekend, that I'm already like psyching up to it. Like, I need to think about this for like a couple of days. I know. Or
when you wanted to go to you want to go to your cousin's house or your friend's house, and now you have to go with them or ask them to go to your mom after church and say, no, my mom won't say no to you.
Exactly.
Or send the sibling that's loved.
Yes, exactly. And things like how was that normal? Like, I think about it now, and I'm like, that's wild that you can't just go and be like, yo, mom, can I go to wherever? Because you ultimately you knew what it was going to be like a big deal, or it was going to be a no. We had to frame it in a particular way. Like, I think stuff like that taught us to be very manipulative, or to manipulate our parents. Like, a lot of parents listening to this podcast will look now and be like, oh, maybe that's why cousin Mang Mang is the one who's always sent to ask me for permission. Because ultimately, maybe, kids have figured out that's how much gymnastics must work. But anyways, what I wanted to touch on specifically, Mr. Maps, what little tactics did you kind of have to think of just to get permission to do stuff from your parents?
It was a lot. I remember there was a boot in Ethiopia one time. So it was like Heritage Day. They were celebrating Heritage Day. And I was friends with... so a lot of the embassy officials at the South African embassy had daughters. That's what the case was. So they were like, hey, we're going to the spot and, pull through. And this was like, so the celebrations, and they had a braai and whatnot from like, maybe 1, 2 Emini, right? Mm-hmm. And then obviously, because South Africans are South Africans, the party didn't end at 5. They were like, right, we're moving to Zwanimani's house, and
after party.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, chief, you need to pull up. And I'm like, ish. And now exactly. You're seeing that potential, and you're like, hey. And then at this point also, me and my mom are sort of beefing, because we're having this, I'm at that point where I want more freedom. My dad's not there, and it's just like, she just seems like she's the fun police. So really, it's just a lot going on. So now I see this, I'm like, at this point I have to go home, but it's about to get turned. So obviously, man's gonna turn up. So what I ended up doing was, one of the Huns was my friend. All of them were my friends, but then one of them, my mom knew her mom.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, listen, can you have your mom text my mom and say, I'm taking towel to this turn up? sizamletha ngamapast. So obviously that's what happened. My mom was like, all right, cool. But then, when I got home, she was still flat. She was still very unhappy. She was still pissed. Hey, what time is it? And I came home at like 8 or 9. It's not like I came home at midnight. Like 8, 9, maybe 9:30 at the latest. It wasn't some mad shit. And again, Ethiopia was very safe. Like Addis was very safe. It's pickpocket crime that's in Addis. But it's not like it's not SA. Yeah, it was chilled. So yeah, there was that, and then obviously a bunch of other times in church when I still lived in Zim. Wanted to go to a friend's place, send the friend. Auntie, can Tabo come over? One of my friends had a pool, and I'm like, guys, we need to pull up to the pool.
Yeah.
It was that kind of thing. And then one of my younger brother, from my point of view, was liked a lot more than me. So I'd ask him.
A lot more than me.
I'd be like, ask mommy if we could go and do this. So those are the typical tactics. And then if you wanted to go to school dances, or wanted to go to like actual clubs and shit, they would say it's a school dance, because like my mom would then send,
as long as there's
the driver,
like school things.
The driver would drop us off, so really my mom wouldn't pull up to the Deutsch.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just about letting her know, there's a dance, and then she's like, all right, cool,
Shop.
the driver will take you guys. And then we pull up and then turn up and then, back home real quick.
The stories are mad, dog. Like you have people that would go to sleep over at a friend's house, because that, okay, guys, if we all get together and we all go sleep over at Tabo's house, and then we ask Tabo's mom will be like, yes. Whereas if I'm at my house and I ask my mom, she's going to be like, no. So,
yeah.
And there's things like that where I don't think why can't it just be a process where we talk about it, and be like, hey, Ma, can I go? Okay, you can go, but conditions are X, Y, Z. What do you think there's an anxiety from parents when children are going? Obviously there is, like going out into the streets where bad things can happen. Do you think they think the worst? Because that seems to be the only kind of explanation. I'm not a parent. I've never, I haven't had that feeling yet, where I feel like whenever my child is going out into the world, I'm just not comfortable.
So, question: if you were a parent, would you let your kid eat at Hanani's house?
Yeah.
So you'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool. No problem. None whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Because, I've spoken to a few people now who are like, you know what, actually, I want to investigate where my kid is going. If they're going for a play date at anybody's house, I want to go see the house. I want to meet the parents. I want to do the...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it stems from that.
Okay, well, I think what you asked me is a different scenario. So...
No, but Auntie, it's the same, because Auntie, we're all talking about
I know Hanani, so that would be different.
My mom knew exactly who was, the neighbors, who were the neighbors, and she was like, nah, if they offer you food, say no. So that's what I was asking.
I once got into so much shit for eating at Junior's house, and it was...
You see? With Junior.
And to be honest, it was... black parents also put us through the most, guys. So this is what happened, right? I go to Junior's. Junior lives like 3-4 houses down the road from me. So I go take a walk there. I go to play. We play PlayStation. Obviously, once you play for like 2-3 hours, I think his mom was there. And she's like, nakugula. Now, if you featured Kubo, I think I got there around 2 p.m. and Wasok Chayo 3 thereabout, and they were now having lunch. So in those instances, what do black parents think must happen? Like, do I leave? Because that's rude as fuck. Like I felt it was such an incredibly uncomfortable position to be in. So now Mrs. Dube is like, Moyo nakugudla hlala. I can't say no. I cannot, no matter how much my mother has said don't eat, in that moment I would rather just take the L and go lie at home. But anyways, on this day, personally, I'm not a good liar, so I eat. And then I go home around
5:30, so I was 6. And then, how was Junior's house? No, it was fine. Oh, Mark, bekona. And I think the conversation went towards so did you eat? And I'm like, yeah, no, she offered me lunch and then I ate. My guy. I got along, like and I felt like I was between a rock and a hard place. I couldn't say no when Mrs. Dube offered me food. But now I'm at home and either I lie so that it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Or I just tell the truth and then get into more shit for accepting Mrs. Dube's food.
What a difficult.
And I'm just like, obviously I get it. At times you have trust issues. Umtana maybe might eat something akule. Fair enough, but then understand those instances are very rare.
No, honestly, I think the issue is with our culture, the dichotomy, the juxtaposition of
bring out the big words today.
no, SAT English, but so and again, putting together a culture where you're meant, if someone comes to my house, whenever there's visitors at home, what does your mom say?
And that way was very hypocritical, because whenever Junior would come to my house, my mother would be like, hey, I'm like, bruh, when I go to their house,
exactly,
you basically hit me for eating at their house. Now they come to my house, the first thing I do is to roll out a 5-course meal. No.
And that's why I'm like, we need to pick. It needs to be one or the other.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you need to decide if you have visitors.
Signals,
are we giving them food? Are we doing the whole hospitality thing? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, okay, sharp. But if the answer is no, or rather, if the answer is yes, then obviously Junior's family also respects the culture. So what are they going to do? They're going to roll out the red carpet. If the kids are eating, there's no way you can be like, right, Junior and Pogushle, come and eat. Sena, chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way you can do that. So you have to, it's just put in, especially for kids. For adults, at least you can handle yourself. But for kids, you're putting them in a very difficult position where, this is my friend. Sena's my friend.
Yeah.
Right? I trust him. And it's like, it's just weird at the end of the day. It's like,
very strange.
I think I've always, for the most part, I always ate just because I felt bad. Because I was like, what am I supposed to say? This is someone's mom who is an authority. Like literally, someone's mother is an authority. This authority has come with food. And they said, you're
in my house.
And it's almost always good food. That's another thing. So it's like, guys, nah. I think I used to lie, to be honest. My mom like, did you eat? I'm like, no. I'm actually starving. The key is not to eat too much. Just eat a bit. Eat bichana, half of it. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm full.
My next question would be, how much of those rules do you think were linked to the perception of ukuthi linengini liyahlupeka, or you're hungry, or you're not being fed enough?
I don't know. I don't think much. That never really, I think it was just, I think with our culture, it's also turned into a dick measuring contest. So it's like, you want to roll out because there was also imkan yabantu bemzi. We had, we had special china, bro, like special plates. As peasants, we had certain plates that we used every day in the house.
Yeah,
let Umudemzuni roll up one time, fam.
Remember that Christmas you came to my house? I had never seen those plates before, bruh. Adweaver, first time ever. That Christmas where you featured and Prof was there, and I'd never seen those.
We had the braai.
Yeah, we had the braai. Done. Even the glasses, I've never seen those in my life. Linda will tell you. Like, one of my biggest prayers that my mother never listens to this podcast. Because I just be wild. But that's the truth, right? And then when they enforce the rules on the opposite, she's just like, but chief, this is not how you done the thing.
Exactly. When people pull up to your yard, that's not what you do. You know, so it's so and again they don't explain it. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Like
Although-
they're very authoritarian. Which no,
Yeah.
and it's like why, you know, like that. There was no, for me at least, there was no explanation there as to why.
Nah, 'cause kids
Or
don't deserve
it was
an
overly, or it was overly dramatic. Where it's like I'm a kid. And I'm still like, nah, cut the BS, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, if you think Uguti was by a lawyer, why? If I'm a lawyer, then why are you sending me there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how are you okay with me playing with this guy at his house if you're, you know, a bit worried Uguti there into funny tendencies? You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
if you're letting me go, you're consenting to
the other stuff.
you know, Senna's parents are going to be conveniently my parents for the next 2 hours. Period.
Yeah.
That's what you're consenting to. You know?
The only thing I'd say makes sense. You're sending a child maybe to go play at someone else's house for the first time. I know, for example, when I become a parent, I'd generally just want to meet those people and just be comfortable with my child is staying in like a proper home. Not proper in the sense of Uguti, everything's there, they have air conditioning and a couch and whatever. No, but more in the sense of Uguti, are these like cool people that my child can be around? The next thing you're sending Umtwana to R. Kelly, you wouldn't want stuff like that happening, right? What I think though, the whole strict parent thing, coming back to like the whole thing, is it kind of creates a generation of people who lie pathologically and professionally. Like
Time actually.
no, it does, bro. Like if you think about some of the things that you grow up you don't tell your parents,
Yeah.
that they only find out, well, they probably never find out like certain parts of like,
So you think this generation of Zim parents has manufactured some excellent lies?
oh, too much. Uhleli lo mntwana Sunday morning at church kanti they were at Groove the previous night.
That's true.
You're chilling there.
That's true.
I could never. Kwasha kwacima. Bro.
You said, I know I'm going to afternoon service at church. Can't you are there at Hillside Dam.
And that's why when so many girls get pregnant, young parents are all of a sudden shocked. Ha!
Yeah. We didn't teach you this.
Didn't teach you, of course, bro. We don't have that relationship. Yours was to enforce rules, mine was to break them. Usually the shock comes from, so where were you doing all of this? Like,
Yeah.
Chief, here in your house. Like, yeah, we're right here. Sasilapa.
No, it's a difficult thing. But anyway, speaking real quick to wrap it all up, keeping on the theme of cultural concerns, there was a tweet that went out maybe a few days ago, and this person was addressing the issue with how we have in our communities, in our houses, with deco. And essentially the person was asking, what is your home deco fad that you absolutely hate? And I don't know, I have a couple thoughts on this. You know, we can go real quick. I think one, like obnoxiously big room dividers. I'm like, why are we doing that? That's
What's wrong with room dividers?
no, obnoxiously big room dividers. That's the ones that are just, I'm like, bro, this is unnecessary. Like, it's literally like a house within a house where there's like the TV sits in the middle, and then there's little compartments, speakers. Then they'll probably put, you know, a little portrait photo somewhere. I'm pretty sure I'm describing someone's house right now. Add us and be like, yeah, you just described my cabins, because I know there's at least 10 of you whose houses I just described with unnecessarily big room dividers. If you look at the trend now, in a lot of our apartments, our room dividers are very, very straightforward, very simple, very, you know, elegant. The plastic fruits, you know, those who have like a basket of plastic fruits, that's very unnecessary, people. We don't need to be doing that.
These guys are coming
if you
for
have that in
everything.
your house, lasha. And then last but not least, the couches and the toilets that have, is get that needs to go. Is
Wait,
get
wait.
lamapitkot.
Are
You
you
all understand exactly what I mean by that.
Wait, are you against having any form of decoration or sort of, I don't know, clothing on the toilet seat in general, or are you just against the limp ones?
Just put a mat, fam. Put a mat in front of the chamber or whatever, and let's be done with it. There's really no need to decorate the toilet.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why are we decorating the toilet?
Yeah.
Like, put a mat on the thing and we're done. We call it a day.
I'm not entertaining visitors anymore, me personally. After reading that tweet, dog, people were dragging everything. Like,
Yeah,
we're
because it
talking,
needed to be dragged.
we're talking heavily decorated to lightly decorated to people were like minimalist lounges.
Yeah, I
or
didn't
like
get the minimalist. I like the
how?
minimalist. Like, I like that aesthetic. It's very
having
plain.
a wine
It's
rack.
nice.
Having a wine rack in the kitchen is tacky. Guys, I was so shocked. Obviously there
Yeah,
are
people
some
are judging.
there are people that are really judgy. When you go to the bathroom, or you go make food for Tabo in the kitchen. Tabo's like, yo, photos in the house, because in our flat right now we got a photo of me and Q, my sister and Q, and then a couple other pictures of Q and the fam, right? And then you Tabo clearly having pictures on a wall. It's actually so
Ghetto.
1990 something. But you know the one that killed me, the funniest one? Unyana womntu caught smoke, bruh. Son of man himself.
Wow.
People were like pictures of Jesus.
Wow.
And I'm like, guys, people like to practice their religion. Let them have
Yeah.
a picture
but you
of
know
the
what?
Most
Low
High.
key?
Aye,
Low
Tabo.
key? Nah. I mean, because I'm just... Here's my my problem with Jesus pictures is normally, and again, 9 times out of 10, they have the white Jesus.
It's the same guy, man. It's the one we've all seen in pictures. And
Yeah,
movies
but
and
that's not an accurate representation.
no, it
of
isn't.
Jesus was.
But unfortunately, that's the mainstream version we've been fed.
Yeah,
all
but
these
still,
years.
even though that's the mainstream, doesn't mean that you now need to put it on your kitchen or in your lounge. That's not necessary, and that's why I kind of would judge you if you have a picture of white Jesus in your lounge. I'd be like, I don't know, bro. If you have, there's people who have the cross. I'm like, alright, cool. Alright.
You know what
whatever.
what we actually, for example,
Portrait ka Jesu.
well, me not Anglo personally, right? But I know that in the Catholic Church, I haven't actually come across a different picture of Jesus other than the white guy. Like in Catholic
it's an agenda,
shops
more.
where
It's an
they-
agenda.
I know it is, but if you're practicing that faith and you're going there every day, like I know for our church, I don't think I'll find a picture of black Jesus. Even if I went to Christ the King today and said I want a picture of Jesus that I can put on my wall, they'll give me the pale guy with the long hair.
Well, entrepreneurs listening to the podcast, get on it. Let's create a market. Let's put black Jesus out there. Let's put some portraits out there. Change the narrative. But yeah, no. The Jesus portraits are a bit...
People drag mounting a TV. Like, personally,
Actually, I think that's efficient.
once
That makes
Q
sense.
reaches a certain age, you're mounting that ish because
Yeah,
right now he's
exactly.
fascinated by the whole I can reach it.
Mhm.
The last thing you want is for the whole thing falling over. Like some things are things. Some things are functional.
Yeah.
But ogunye, guys, this just allow people to decorate their homes however they
Yeah,
want.
no. That tweet had
Yeah.
a lot of diverse stuff, and I was like, okay, it's not that deep.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But I mean, there was someone who talked about those dogs, and you know exactly the dogs I'm talking about. I feel like, those are scars from the past, so I'll let that one slide.
No, but you know what, right?
But yeah.
Do you think there's a certain things that are just no longer in fashion anymore, like fridge
Probably.
magnets? Like those fridge magnets with the magnetic fruits on the fridge.
I like okay, the magnetic fruits, they have to go. But there's certain fridge magnets that I would like to put up there.
Like I know the ones we have are everywhere my sister's visited. So if she went to Rome, she'll get a magnet just to put it on the fridge. Like I think
Yeah,
that's
no,
like
that's dope.
chilled.
That's dope.
what I'm, you're not where it's a banana or a strawberry and it's an apple and it's just like a magnet on the fridge. Maybe back then they were in fashion, and the fake fruits that when you don't like, and those dogs that we all know, les kwama sama pics, and the skogo for the toilet, the dress for the toilet seat. Maybe all those things were in fashion maybe in the 90s or 80s, and we've just grown up in a different generation where we now watch Deco TV and what are all these weird shows that where people show you their homes, and we watch all of that
there's
stuff.
that other one, that American one where they transform homes and shit
Home
like that. I forget what it's
makeover
called.
things. I don't know. And maybe we've just maybe they're just grown out of fashion, and we as homeowners wouldn't have those kind of decoration that most of our parents did, because to be honest, a lot of people that were posting or commenting don't own homes. They were posting about homes owned by someone's parent. No, that's the truth. That is the reality. Dude.
Yo, this man is coming for niggas.
I'm just saying. No, but that's the reality. If we're being 100, keeping it 100, all those homes that were being dragged were our parents' homes, not ours. I'm yet to have my own home where I decorate it however I want, right?
Yeah, no,
It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, no, that's deep. That's deep, fam. Right, guys, this has been another episode of 6 Foot Weights. As you know, like the ting, retweet the ting, subscribe to the ting.
Guys,
Otherwise,
think pieces are prohibited. We will not entertain them today.
Wow.
What I'll actually ask Mr. Map to do, I'll ask him, now that we're easing off, he'll post the other song from my mixtape.
Oh, the other tune? The revolutionary
We'll
one.
outro with the more chilled one. That was just nonsense.
Where with the boom boom thing? Spray your legs open, yeah. Yeah, we did the riddim. I see a moga. Fire in the booth.
Anyway.
Right, Mr. Moyo. All right.
Ladies, Mr. Maps.
Kill all the beef and eat. Stop all the hate. Tomorrow's fate can't grow in hate. Children of the world, drop to your knees with hands together. Let God take over, and tomorrow it shall be over. Believer or non-believer, without faith there is sender, without a receiver. This one for the guys that them youths that don't know, them not know peace. Me say inna this time, me say inna this time, me say inna this time, Jah know inna this time, me say inna this time, Jah please me beg you walk beside us even though I live up for greed. Me say inna this time, Jah please just stop the killing, little youths them a dead up on streets. Me say inna this time, Jah please just stop the killing, all the wars upon the Middle East. Me say inna this time, Jah please me beg you walk beside us even though I live up for greed. I know inna this time, girls go missing for Nigeria, the leader showing that them not care. We are go up on Twitter and a Facebook, hashtag we bring them now know how much pain them a bear. Me say inna this time, Ukraine, Russia shoot a plane down and a people a die. Malaysian plane go missing, how it go missing when America we know them as spies. Me say inna this time, nah go give up on Syria, them leaders taking people for fool. Them lead good youth on the wayside, corrupt them straight man's guns, now go send them for school. Me say inna this time, stop Obama and America, them giving all the guns for Jews, bringing war to the Gaza and the people them a suffer. So me say it na nice fi be not a Jew. Me say inna this time, Palestinians not gonna live a proper life in the home them live pan. Mr. Babylon a quick fi show them hate, I go throw them in a cage. Little picking a born from prison. Me say inna this time, who depend no man who I live just we take life. Now know how them live up in a Zion when them hate they multiply. Him not care if you're Jew or pagan. Me say in this time, in this time, in this time.